Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. Innovative, the universal body enhancement spaceship stellar development. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection, as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie. Nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie, przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami, a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie. w tym samym Kościele w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto, co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.
Witamy wszystkich na 405 warsztatach poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim. Dzisiaj mamy niedzielę, 11 październik 2020 rok, a tematem jest druga część wykładu. Jest to 348 warsztat poszukiwaczy wiedzy i czas przetłumaczony na dzisiaj to jest od 2 godzin 12 minut do 2 godzin 28, od 2:31 do 2:55, od 3:07 do 3:32 i od 3:37 do 3:58. Po wykładzie zapraszam do rozmów, zadawania pytań, na które postaramy się odpowiedzieć. Tak więc zapraszam do wysłuchania i obejrzenia.
But you will have, as we've seen in the present time, especially in past 48 hours, the ugly side of human race. Very ugly side. But need be will interfere directly. What I heard in past 48 hours is a shame on being a world leader, a nation, a leader who calls his people to be ready to destroy other people in the same nation. And we have to wait and see. Threatening, if I don't become, I ruin my nation. Better that nation not to exist, to be ruined by itself. I told you, self-destruction cannot be blamed. And in so many ways, what we heard in past 24 hours, coming from American election by the President of the United States, brings to us a need for the change of society in a very direct way. Calling a nation to anarchy if I don't get elected by the white supremacists is what was the biggest fear of the American nation. A president taking his nation to ransom should not be the behavior of the man. And that's why we don't need any presidents and heads of a state as the power deludes them from reality of their position. The Keshe Foundation and its technology stands behind what we call the new administration to come into operation in the United States. We support peace and we support sharing of knowledge, but what we've seen as a thuggery by a head of a state has to come an end. The nations do not need a head. The nation needs someone who can explain what that country can do or that part of the world can do and fall within the laws of Universal Council. There's one nation, one planet, one race. As we see, mankind is getting to that point. This nation has killed many, and now it's time for itself, it gives to itself to destroy itself. And it's done by the heads. We've seen these number of people, some 10,000 on the back streets of Washington, when people were claiming for the black man who was killed. They were kept in the background to start anarchy. And now they're being called in to do on the nation. There's two things. Do we need to elevate the soul of this nation to bring peace on humanity, or do we let it go to doldrums of non-existence? It's with the greatest sadness to hear the head of a state splitting his own nation if it's not done. We've seen the same in Belarus in past few days. It shows the time has come that the world sits against leadership as a one collective leadership, and the basis for it is shown more and more. And I hope, my biggest wish is, this behavior will not go to the head of the two heads of the Keshe Foundation, the present and the future, and the members of Universal Council and Earth Council, that their position is to serve and not to be the head, and to be listened to and be pride in the position they've taken. The job of the Universal Council, the Earth Council, and the two heads of the Keshe Foundation for now and the future is, if you see such a conduct, remove. Do not wait. Remove from position. And a structure has been set for removal of every member at the same time. You see big-headedness and destruction and division within the Keshe Foundation from the two heads of the Keshe Foundation. Remove them immediately. Don't wait for the time it might change. The same is with the Universal Council members and the Earth Council members. The work is set up is to create peace and a peaceful condition through technology, delivery of the technology, and what it comes as a benefit of the new technology, that everyone has what they need according to the time, the place, and the position. No one is above the soul of the man, and man collectively is of the planet. And I said that to the heads of the Keshe Foundation. Never be deluded with the power you're given. Is skin of onion thick. As long as you serve correctly, collectively and correctly, that's all your purpose is. And we see it with 2 or 3 heads of nation now is coming. We expect more problems, people against the leaders, and leaders trying to stick on to it. Today, the European community is meeting what to do with Belarus, where the president wants to stand. I wonder how many of them look internally to themselves and what they stand in a position in their own nations, how they got into power. As I said a long time ago, in the new structure of the universal order, there is no room for kingship and president. Man has to live collectively in peace anywhere on this planet and beyond.
Mr. Keshe, Life asks in the YouTube, how do we get rid of the thugs in the USA peacefully?
You don't get rid of them. You know them. Go the new way. Go your way. Elevate their souls. Connect all the magnet systems you have across your nation. Connect all the dynamic systems you built across your nation. That will bring the dome of peace on your nation. You got to understand, every facility is there. I was talking to the head of the Keshe Foundation yesterday. I have made a structure that we can reach every nation through knowledge seekers. You are not aware how we have established what we call Earth group as part of the knowledge seekers and with the same ethos. That collectively, gradually, we change our nation, we change our planet in the which we are. That's why I told you when I let the Maghreb units go, I teach you how to connect to each other. Knowledge seekers in US, you have built all these Maghreb. There's tens of thousands of these Maghrebs in your homes. You've given to a friend. You have made two cups, linked them up. And as you all made with a wish to the benefit yourselves mostly, and partially to work at the ethos of the Keshe Foundation, you will see how you change your nation in coming days. It's the job of the Keshe Foundation, US and Canada, to bring these people, bring the systems together. John knows how to do it. There are many people, Alex in Canada knows how to do it. Connect your systems, and exactly like Caribbean, your wish is peace. You will see how the things will change in the next days to come. The power of the knowledge and the power of the peace is within the soul of the knowledge seekers. Link up. When you want to learn, link up. Link up your system, link up your souls, and call for the peace, and you will receive it. Receive how we received all peace. Very simple. Link up and change your nation. With it, will bring peace to the others. You got to understand what happened to the United States. The president called for the army to come in. They refused. Called for everything else. Now he's gone to thugs. Your job is to elevate the soul of those thugs, and maybe the president. Keshe Foundation and its technology and through negotiation stands solid behind peace and prosperity of every nation, including the United States. And as we said before, we stand solid behind what we call nominated vice president to be, as we see here, the correct conduct person to carry the United States into peaceful condition. Kamala Harris is the key to peace in the United States and rest of the planet. And she has a 100% solid support of us and our technology. We don't get into politics, we get into politics of peace. And by delivering it, we create a new condition of new employment, new jobs, new prosperity for American nation through correct conduct. The same message was sent to the Iranian leaders on Monday. There is no difference. Any other question?
Well, Barbara mentions in the Q&A, says, Mr. Keshe, I feel that there will be people that may resist these changes to come. What will happen to these souls if they don't accept these changes? Free will comes to mind.
Oh, it's not a matter of accepting the changes. The changes are here. We've seen some people, even in the past few days, have gone trying to split the Keshe Foundation on the line of a lot of other things. It's the wisdom of the knowledge seekers which has to rule. We've seen the last division in the Keshe Foundation launched. There will be no more. And the reason for it is, as was said, a bunch of thugs and others wanted to take over the foundation because all the work is done. Now it's time to harvest the fruit of all of us, our peaceful application and nations. And they will come. We were waiting for these moves, and we have protected the foundation from these moves. Coming in the clothes of the sheep, but to be a wolf inside. The world leaders have to lead through knowledge, technology, and peace. And when they get to the tools of what we see, it's time for the replacement through the soul. Execution, prison taking, and prisoners will not work anymore, because you got to learn. Many of you, if you have leaders who are peaceful leaders and correct leaders and imprisoned, you have the knowledge with you to move their souls and their physicality from their imprisonment. The knowledge has been given to you, and let them be the people of peace and freedom. But would they stay that, or are they there for a time they are in opposition? The point is, do we need heads of states? Or do we need states that they can head themselves with groups and committees who run to serve them, to serve humanity? And all of you have that power and the system which is given to you to stand the technology. Use it wisely, you achieve it.
Mr. Keshe, Thomas had asked in the Q&A earlier, can we integrate in a supportive way our soul energies with the Lintz exhibit?
Yes. As I said, today we didn't announce, and nobody knew we are here. It's just a few of us. And it's done deliberately, because when we have other people here, they distract from teaching and where we want to convey the messages. And today, clearly we stated the position of the Keshe Foundation worldwide and what is to come. And it's within this environment of the, what we call the lens. You can link to it because it's made from your body and mind, carries the structure of the copper and zinc, which is a constituent of our emotion and physicality.
people comment about the peace they feel when they come into the building there or into the exhibit area.
It is peaceful because it's balanced, it's full of energies. It's a balance of the field. And it's so much of it, and it's getting more and more of it.
And there have been comments like Dean and...
You had your spies here.
Yeah.
To it. Can we take a camera right into the system? I see what you see on my telephone, then I can tell you exactly where we are. If we can we zoom it in? If you see here, can we zoom in even closer? You see new stands. We have put new ways of detection. First of all, we chose, if you see it here, the way Tesla showed the magnetic fields. When the fields build up, these fluorescent tubes around the system will light up. This is the first signs. If we don't jump power level magnetic fields, they will light up. Secondly, as we saw with the UFO, a number of, what I can know, if you can see it in my hand, a number of magnets, a specific shape has been hung around that the interaction of the fields will, what we call, make them to move. And we know the field has reached the matter state too. But the beauty with the next step is you see a number of balls, GaNs balls, specifically loaded to be when the system reaches a plasma condition. So we can, in different ways, detect the progress in plasma development when and if it happens. And they've been put in different position, heights and condition and different materials to give us the best possibility. And at the same time, then if any of these three come into operation together, means the system has reached lift condition. Means we have overcome the gravity by the magnets. We see the condition of the plasma of the balls, a special mixture, which gives us the information that now is in a matter of interaction with the physical atmosphere of the place. And with the lights, we see the interference ready to move. This is how we did the same kind of test in Iran when we achieved lift. Simple methods, but understanding it allows us to do. We have put different conditions. There's more radios will come in. Then by silencing different radios through the field's interaction, we see the expansion of the system. These systems are certified. These are exactly how will be used in Arizona and everywhere else. They'll have a filling to match that. And so the technology literally comes in. You have to watch something very clear. The fear-mongering, which now we see from those who've been banished from the Keshe Foundation, they betrayed the foundation so deeply over years, just close your ears to. Because they know the time has come. And all that was done, that when the time comes to shut down, that keep man a slave to their masters on this planet. I have opened your hands to the universe. And I took a lot. And taking a lot has given you the freedom of the knowledge and technology. And do not, to all the Keshe Foundations around the world, Do not be bothered by a few writings of those who their plan from the beginning was for the technology to never come out. They are sold their souls to the master of evils, and we see it. Don't stand fear-mongering. We've seen a lot, especially in past 2-3 weeks. This is this is that. If it was wrong, the governments who understand it won't allow it, certify, and the knowledge seekers come here to learn from it, to take it to their nations and to their heart. Technology is complete. Technology has shown itself across the world. It's not the first time we show it. How many of you have saved your lives with Corona using it? How many of you have developed other things and tested it? Fear-mongering is the behavior of the thug leaders and those who want to capture humanity in the hands of their masters to be a slave. I give you the knowledge to free the man. And this freedom has to be appreciated that the same way as created knowledge and released it freely, you appreciate it and carry it on. Anyone creates a condition of fear or try to make you afraid of, those are those who sold their body and their soul to the masters of evil, because now they lose control. Because true knowledge brings freedom, and I've given you the true knowledge for you to test, not just because I say so. The setup here is to gear for the next step, and then in a way, these are the simple ways that you see that the system now, we see a motion of the gases in the balls in a specific way we said, which means when the system starts running, we can put a person in it now interacts with the body. As they are made of the natural processes, natural materials can only bring balance. You got a cancer, it brings balance. You got emotional problem, it brings balance. And those who are here to serve humanity extend their work and their time to spread the knowledge. Those who have sold their soul and body to the what we call the evil forces on this planet, they call it everything wrong. And we've never seen so much success coming one after another with Keshe Foundation than in past 2 months, 3 months, where we got rid of the evil forces within the foundation, those who betrayed us heavily inside. The exhibition brings those who come here peace, because it's confirmation of technology, it's confirmation of the truth which they come in. Development and showing of it in the further steps as we are testing more and more will bring the confirmation of freedom that everyone can reach it. Testing the flight system in the coming days, what we call, we show the car, flying car is not to show as the car can fly. It shows that we become free from the shackles of the fuel. We can create a new environment. To me, when I show the what we call the car which is flies, is to show that we are free. We don't damage this planet anymore. That's the purpose of it. It costs you a few $100. You take out the engine out of the car, you take out the exhaust system out of the car, you throw out the fuel tank, and what does it give you? You have electric cars. You actually burn the fuel somewhere else. You haven't stopped burning, you haven't stopped damaging. Throw the engine out, electric or mechanical or whatever. Place, very small. I tell you what you will receive. The new system for cars will be, is the camera on? It'll be something like this. Very simple. You replace it in where your shock absorbers are, and one in the center. You can get it? Or do you want me to move? Yeah? Are you at it? You're on it? I can see it. This is what it'll be. It'll replace in the position of your shock absorbers because they're in the four corners, it brings a balance. There is one in the center. And then it allows you to achieve a slight lift from the ground. These were the systems which in 2011 in November were supposed to be shown in Eindhoven. Nothing has changed, but now we are better developed and better equipped to show this. So it costs you very little. You take a shock absorber, you throw it in a bin, as you saw in the car in what do you call the flying car. You take your engine, you throw it in. You actually can take whatever with a good body, and you have a car. You have a system that it can move you and take you to places. How fast do you think people who spend, was it about 1/10 of every family income spent on the fuel and car and everything else, now becomes availability of the funds to the family to live a better luxury, a better freedom, a better comfort. Because these systems, you buy another car, you just replace it, you take the shock absorber out and you put it in its position. With the electric cars, we created more damage than we actually did with the petrol cars, because now we hide it and we use more energy to create, we burn more fuel to create the same energy. So we are progressively going in that way. It's to understand the reality of what this technology will bring and how it will open us for next step of technology development, and how we're going to do it and the way we're going to do it. If you remember, I post you a few pictures in a minute. This is what you should see in your cars and what it should be available to all of us. You will see, I'll show you the first flying car which was supposed to be shown in Eindhoven, and some of you have seen it. I'll post it for you that you see exactly how your car will look. You will do this to your car and you will be happy to do this to your car. Because first of all, not only you don't pay the fuel, you become very much aware that you've done yourself and your planet a service. This is how it will be in a very, very short time. You'll be happy the way I was to rip this thing apart. And you'll be more than happy to see the pictures I see. And this is not a dream. This is what it was ready to be shown in what I call Eindhoven 11 years ago. We were sold out from inside, and it took us 11 years to come back in. And this is what you will do with yourself and your car. First of all, you take your engine out and throw it away, because there is no need for it. The central column chassis to the back axle, not needed. There it goes, half of the weight of the car. Then that's where you see the central column is gone. This is the first flying car was set to be shown on 26th of November in Eindhoven. On 25th, somebody gave them a tip-off when they came in. I wonder who and how much we believed in lies. And now this is what you see in the back of the car. The fuel tank and everything else you don't need. You will do this to your car and you'll be happy to do it. Because you will replace it, as I showed you, with a Coca-Cola size, on the shock absorber size, and done. In the coming weeks, when we show the flying system, it's much easier for us to fly it because 80% of the weight is thrown out. The biggest weight of the body will be the shell and the chairs you sit in, and yourselves. You still have the Rolls Royce. You still drive your Mini, but Mini with nothing in it. Miniaturized in every shape or form. This is the evolution in the science. And in fact, if you look, can you zoom on this? Can you zoom on this one here? This is exactly what you will get. You all know this, and this is what you will be doing. Exactly the same process. You create this levitation, as is the moon, between the earth and the car. And as you see with the UFO. And this is the beauty of the knowledge. We move from matter state flotation into magnetic gravitational positioning of the car in respect to the earth. This is what all of you have to live with in the coming days and months. And once we show it, it'll be shown in the exhibition in Lens. And as I said to the people who own this place, I said, we show the car and then we take it and put it on the balcony for the night. And then we bring it down the next day. Automotive industry will change beyond recognition in the next 12 months. This will create new jobs, new understanding, new technologies, new inroads into other achievements for humanity. I wonder how much would worth the place of the fuel stations in city centers and around the world when nobody needs them anymore. There's no fuel to tank. And most of the fuel stations are in the prime positions, in most of the places. They make a beautiful supermarket, some of them. As a man who used to be involved in the oil industry, it's in a way sad to see, but it's beautiful to understand the change brings many things in. Any other question?
I'd like to read something from the Q&A here from Paula, and it's quite appropriate, I think. She says, greetings and salutations, Mr. Keshe. Speaking to the universal acquisition of knowledge through GAN's exposure, I must share at the marvel I have as I watch my Down syndrome daughter ever expanding her horizon, and this week has started teaching herself Spanish to my amazement. The noticeable difference in her being from exposure to Ganses and how she uses them when she feels she needs them has been intuitive and appropriate for pain, protection, and learning. Thank you and bless. So I wanted to put that in as you're mentioning the different applications of the technologies and so on. So
this is what we see when the souls are elevated. The physicality follows. When you get to the people at this level, it's not that we see them just change. We see them that they elevate, we elevate their souls with what we make available to them, and the souls bring the change. Man has to understand the truth and what sits behind it. It's not a medicine. It's conditions like this, it comes through an interaction of the soul of the man. And now, when you allow them, the soul needs and physicality provides. And this is the truth. This is what you have to learn. The Ganses create that environment that the soul elevates. And with elevation of the soul needs a new condition for the physicality. We've seen that with the number of the children in a test trial in the orphanage. And more or less all elevate the same level. And they all decide not to. Most probably in the next 6 weeks, we have none of them ever wearing Pampers. As gradually the elevation comes in the condition of the physicality and delivery of it. And it's beautiful to see. I know how parents think when they see these things. I've been witness to many autistic people changing their lives with the Ganses and technology. One of the people who helped us a lot with the hardware, with his sister having an autistic child, when I told them when they came to me in February, and I told them have the child ready to go to a proper school by September, they could not believe it. A 10-year-old boy could do such a thing as being autistic in a handicapped school in a wheelchair. Now, 12 months later, he's actually got accepted to go to a proper school, schooling, like not the handicap side, and then going swimming himself every day, walking a kilometer or two to go for swimming and come back home. And I said to the parents, I promised, I kept to my promise. They got their child back. They got a child who's responsible for itself. And this is part of what we say this technology works through the soul of the man. And the physicality follows. When you see, I get somebody moved in China from the chair, is I elevate the soul. Physicality has no option. It was my wish for him to walk, and he walked. The Chinese always want me back there because when you come, they change. Because I elevate their soul and they look to see what the machine does in physicality. That's why in these machines, the two systems here, we embedded part of my vision soul and the head of the Keshe Foundation of the same. we reach the soul. You look at the physicality of the motors. So it means a lot not understood. It's beautiful to see when you change the life of a child, you change the life of a family, you change a life of pain and suffering to joy and happiness. This child has got another 50, 60, 80 years to live. You give him or her the gift of life. And that's the responsibility of every one of us to create that condition.
Our secret spy from the UK. Not so secret anymore. Perhaps you can go ahead there now, Dean.
He can't spy this time. I'm on top of him.
Mr. Keshe, thank you for taking this question. So the car, you spoke about the car. So you picked up a bottle of water and you said that water can fuel the car. So if you...
No, we don't fuel the car. We create magnetic positioning in each bottle or the system in respect to Earth. There's no fueling, it's positioning. So you never run out of fuel.
Okay, so I understand that. What I was trying to get to was the car itself is a matter state vehicle. And let's say the water, the plasma water, if you elevate the soul of the water or connect with the soul of the water, does that matter state vehicle have the potential to travel the universe?
Possible. It depends on the depth of your knowledge. If you can understand it and you can do it, yes.
So the vehicle could be, we have the shape of a car or a truck or any matter state vehicle that you can imagine, or could it be anything? Could you literally the chair you're sat in, could that be turned into a traveling device?
In reality, yes.
You mentioned the Boeing airplanes, I think, or jetliners in general as a good starting point. Take the wings off and you have a pretty good platform to start with.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things with this. It's just understanding the essence of the knowledge. As I said, you can fly with one atom. If you understand the power of that atom, what it can create and what it can take within it. How much you can expand the energy fields of that atom in respect to its environment, and then use it for motion and what do you call, even feeding. Man will come to understand more and more if we tell you, if you remember something which puzzled Rick very earlier on with the technology. I said one atom can cover the whole of a solar system. So if you understand that, you can imagine what is the energies within the structure of that atom. This is what I call the wheel of Keshe Foundation. You carry the field forces of it, and the interaction of the field forces create that direction and position.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for answering that question. That was all for now. Thank you. It's sort of
Thank you very
you
much.
explained everything I already know. Thank you.
Okay, so how much more do you want to spy while you're here? How much do you get paid to do this?
Well, I get paid by my soul, Mr. Keshe. The payback
No, I don't
is
think so.
this.
It's something they're paying you something more in from the. What? How come you only report to Rick's teaching?
I don't know. I had a deep connection with Rick a long time ago. I started interacting with the reactor group, and Rick and the group taught me many beautiful things that enhanced my understanding in a matter state to begin with. But then with your teachings, it soon changed to the soul teachings, and it's sort of I don't know. It's just the way it evolved. It's the way the process worked for me. That's just the way it works.
You train your spy as well, Rick. You got hold of me, now you got hold of him. Who's next?
You never know. They come out of the woodwork.
Any other question?
We did have Armin with his hand up for a while there.
He gave up.
No, I think he's
still there. His hand is up, but he's fallen asleep.
Nah, I don't think so.
He's awake. He's awake. Good morning, Armanja.
Good morning, Mehran. How are you?
Still alive. Which is a good sign up to now.
I have one question.
Yep.
You know that Azerbaijan started a war in Armenia.
Yeah.
And thousands of dying every day.
Yep.
How we can help?
Pray for the soul of the leaders. The thing is, there is no, according to the statistics and security report, not many people have died. This is a lot of banging.
No, you know, I talk Armenian
there is
every day.
There is exaggeration in numbers.
Yeah,
the exaggeration in numbers creates fear. And
it's a reality,
pray for the soul of the two leaders. We're going to see the same thing if Ukraine pushes further. But there is no backing for this. It's just a local mishmash of piece of land. Has not got any support. Hello.
Actually, Turkish people, they provoked it.
This hasn't got the international. It has no international backing. It's just a couple of leaders locally bashing each other for a piece of land, which was left territorially independent in what we call no man's land between the two nations. This is not a war. This is a what do you call it, a mishmash for a few days and it's over. Nobody is there to do anything with it. Nobody is prepared to do anything with it. It's just one leader trying to assert his position. This is what we say leaders have not to be there. This is not a war. This is just a local skirmish by one leader who's trying to find position. There is a back to this because in general, the state of Israel has pushed into support of for that because part of this section in essence carries a number of ex-USSR military bases, Air Force bases, which is used by the Israeli Secret Service and Americans to create mayhem training in China, in Iran and Middle East. There is more to this. This is not a war. This is something that needs to be cleared out because the Israelis wanted this area cleared that they can do their work without anybody knowing what's going on.
but they are providing with all the arms. It is
The
Israeli
arms have
arms.
been there. The arms have been there for months. We have a security report over 3 years ago. We were expecting, this is not a war. This is just trying to, the Israelis are using the airports which left from the USSR time, training Chinese, Mongolians, some Turkish Iranians to infiltrate Iran and China to create a lot of work. This area, that's why I tell you this is nothing, this is without even considered as a war. And they received the backing of the Turkey in exchange for the Syrian backing. I watched this movement where Keshe Foundation has got people on the ground. We know exactly what's going on. And this is not a war. This is part of the Israeli program, training area they want to clear, because they train a lot of Chinese who go back to what we see in Hong Kong, what we see in China, what we see now, training Iranian Turks to start problems, in not the Iranian Turks, Turks speaking Farsi, to start problem in Iran. This is part of that program. And it's been going on. It's well known by us. We have debriefed national securities of a number of nations on this. We were expecting this. This is just part of the work of the Israeli forces to have total control in that side with the support of the Turkish to be able to destabilize, especially Kazakhstan at the moment. We are very well aware of this work. It's not considered in no shape or form war. It's hardware given to clean up that. It's the responsibility of Iran national security, Chinese, and what we call the Silk Road to see an end in the use of these air bases. Because it's the ground for training, speaking, not the nationals, and sending back into, especially, we see a lot of problem with the Chinese west border with Kazakhstan and China. I have debriefed Chinese national security thoroughly about this some time ago. Don't forget, Keshe Foundation has supporters at the highest level, and are same believers and ethos of us as peace. So we collect continuous, we are given continuous data about these movements about peace, because we keep an eye to see, to understand, and we correctly share with the national securities. Iranian national security is fully aware of this move, what Turks are doing in this northern borders that are away from Iranian border, training Turkish language speaking, not the Iranian Turks. Iranian Turks stay solid behind the nation. They are part of the nation. These are the people exactly what they did in Libya. A few Italian-speaking people started a revolution, and now Israelis want to do the same in Iran. And they've been supported, financial support received by Saudi Arabia to do this. I know I speak, but we are fully debriefed on regular basis in this area, because the Turks work right across Silk Road, all the way from Turkey right through to China, west coast of China, which got a huge Muslim population. I warned the Chinese national security some time ago that this is happening now. When you see it, then you get excited because you're Armenian. But overall, this is a bigger plan by Israel and the British government to destabilize the Silk Road, which is becoming a power force. I have debriefed both nations heavily on this. Number of Central Asian countries have debriefed at the national security levels. We know what it is. This is not a war. We don't consider, nobody considers a war. It's except Israelis want those two military air forces which are left abandoned, now is used heavily by the Israelis. They should be closed. And this is the job of Russia to say this to be closed. We don't understand why Putin doesn't interfere and shut these things down.
Actually, they took their forces, Russian forces, through Iran, because Georgia didn't allow. So
Yes. They
Iran
should have done
allowed.
this a long time ago. You got to understand, Georgia carries a large, heavily large number of Jews. Georgia is extensively Jewish state. Most of the
Yes,
Jews in
correct.
Tel Aviv are from Georgia. My grandparents, my
Yes.
great-grandparents left Georgia to Iran. So in a way, Georgia is well protected by the state. Do you understand this situation? The politics of the Middle East and Central Asia has been something I've kept an eye on for years. I work in this area. What has happened, and this one of these bases are used heavily by Israeli intelligence to train people from the west border of China to create mayhem there. They are training terrorists to go that way. We are aware of it. We are fully aware of what's going on. And same Chinese. All data has been given to the Chinese authorities 2 years ago. And some of the people you see in Hong Kong are trained in these bases. Don't worry, it's a short term. You know how I work. I'm a very, keep a lot of knowledge, but very silent. But don't worry about it. This is a skirmish which Turks are creating in the favor of the Israeli forces. And for all the Middle Eastern forces are keeping an eye on these places, and people who travel in it is becoming a place to train terrorists by the Israelis to destabilize Silk Road. Silk Road has become one of the major routes of economy for China, and if it's disturbed, serves the benefits of the Western Europe and America. You got to understand, even the enhancement units you see on this floor, we load at the factory, 14 days later, delivered in our factory, everything done. Chinese have developed an amazing delivery system, and with it, are bringing a lot of prosperity for the nations on the Silk Road. Now, if you want to ship these enhancement units from China to Europe, it takes 6-8 weeks, port to port and everything else. They pick it up from us at the factory. They deliver to us at the factory. Everything, duty, taxes paid, 14 days. It's the economical route they're trying to disturb, to damage the economy and integrity of the state of China. Because there is something a lot of us to have to understand, and living in China for such a long time, and I loved the country and the way the leadership looks after its people in so many ways, not always correct in all the ways, is that the Chinese developed their nations over 30 years. They had to develop such a big nation to such a state as we see with all these big high-rise factories and buildings and such a beautiful cities. They ran out of work. They ran out of building because they built whatever they could build. So what was the initiative by President Xi of China? His Excellency President Xi made it very clear. We are not shutting these building companies down and losing so much job. He created One Belt One Road to create and invest what expertise they had in construction across the world. He built many ports. He built what we call Belt and Road, and many of these things. And with it, brought a lot of prosperity and freedom from control of other countries in the economy of China. So these industrial powerhouses of construction, they put, with the support of Chinese, into constructing the Silk Road. All aspects of it. Ports across the world. We've seen it in Nairobi. The port of Nairobi was built. We've seen how they invested in what they call it, Paris of Africa. And wherever the Chinese went, they brought prosperity because they put the, what we call the massive industrial building structure behind it. With it, they brought economical disaster as well. But in so many ways, the Chinese factories, manufacturing of the building, the construction companies became the constructors of the world around the world with the backing of the Chinese Central Bank. And the whole purpose, mainly of One Belt One Road, was to keep the construction companies of China in operation while they could find another solution. Because they built the China to its maximum. The only thing which is now left, they're building massive amount of high-speed train, 350 kilometers an hour, right across China. The rest of the country is built, all the ports are built. So now the Western nations, through the state of Israel, because they are the proxy for murder for most of the nations, have built a center in what we call in Azerbaijan. This center was built about 4 years ago. We kept an eye on it. We received reports, we received satellite reports. And we watched it, and we have fully debriefed the security, national security of China about it, and they're keeping an eye. We know who's traveling, they are watching everything else. And the same with Iran. These don't forget, we learned from it when the British with 20 Italians started a coup d'etat in Libya and they got rid of the Gaddafi. 20 Italians speaking Arabic, they caused the mayhem, and now they want to use the same thing in Iran, in Tajikistan, in Kazakhstan, to destabilize Silk Road. And west borders of the China with Kazakhstan. I have offices, I've had offices in Kazakhstan since 1992. I'm well connected inside Kazakhstan work. We're keeping an eye on all this. My offices in Almaty goes to 1992, and we have a well-rooted connection within the structure. We watch everything. I told you I'm most unusual businessman, scientist, and everything else because I've been working across this planet, understanding the cultures, and when the time comes, we can deliver. I have a massive company on this borderlines. I invested the way I invested in Keshe Foundation. I've invested in Kazakhstan. I've invested in other parts of the Silk Road. These are all beautiful people. They have a deep culture. They all speak Farsi, for to me is part of my culture. I understand. I worked in Kazakhstan since 1991-92. I entered Kazakhstan with the support of British structure, London Group, and I built an empire there. The same as I did in Africa and other parts of the world. I didn't go in, I went in to understand that in the future what can be done and how can be supported. And when we give you information, I give you how deep my connections are. "30 years.
Namaste. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Anuj. I wish you all the best. Any other question?
I believe Jalal has his hand up there, but
The spine number 2.
I will be with you in 1 minute, please. I have work background.
You see, we exposed his hand, he's running away, now he's busy. Next question.
Okay, well, we have still a number of questions in the Q&A. Let me see. Well, let's just start at the top. Thomas says, can we expand on the Linz to Tehran to Arizona exhibition plans?
Tehran is in the hand of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers. They're negotiating with the universities and officials that these systems will be shown in Tehran. I have given my comment. Initially, we were supposed to do this in Tehran. These enhancement units were supposed to be completed, shipped to Iran. Then we saw the bunch of things which happened again by the back of spies of the Belgium in Iran trying to disturb and distract the work of the Keshe Foundation in Iran. We ruled it out. And now we go back to Iran, to the Sharif Tehran University, where this is where I did the original research of the development to show the beauty of the technology. And our team in Iran are working on it. And hopefully, once it's completed, the units will be lifted to Tehran for 2 weeks, shown in Iran as a development and achievement of the Iranian scientists, and be brought back to Linz, the home of the technology. And then in Arizona, we don't need to take these because already 12 units is allocated to the position. We just show the power of it and the technology. Listen to the Keshe Foundation next week, and all your knowledge seekers consolidate with each other in different ways. We can make it available, one city, one system to be delivered. It's you who's got to facilitate. Keshe Foundation, Austria will facilitate the rest. So we made it as simple as it could be done, and we have the facility to do so. Just listen next week, and it'll be announced by the head of Keshe Foundation. It's their responsibility as they control this part of the work, not mine. I just tell you how they see it and how they want it to be done. And as she said, they needed till next week to plan it out. Then you will hear it. And we will have a show in every city, as I say.
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, good day, Jalal.
How are you, Mr. Keshe?
Not too bad. Did you report everything? By the way, I still...
Two similar plasmas or near enough similar plasmas can interact. Enough similar plasmas or near enough similar.
Question.
Keep it.
Depends. If you go for lunch today, we have to spend it.
I know, you know, I really did want to invite you just now to lunch, but you are always ahead of me, Mr. Keshe. Yeah, and that was his question about the folic acid. But,
yeah.
It's okay if someone purchases.
Yes, but you understand, whatever we put here is manufactured by the way we do it, and is as it is.
Okay, thank you. Back to
it's
my
a colorful tray. Yeah.
Back to my question.
Back to your question.
You said two similar plasmas or near enough similar plasmas can interact.
Yeah.
So whatever we have in our environment, it's come from the same plasma?
Plasma of the sun, yes.
Okay. Can we see a different culture of plasma interact with each other?
What do you mean?
Or can another plasma which have different creation interact with another plasma? Or it must be similar or near similar?
If they have a similar strength field, they always interact.
Okay.
You have to have if you have a small window of time that they can interact, that they can understand or make a connection, then they do. And you can change the dimensions of it. This is what scientifically we explained. You fall in love maximum for 5 years unless you renew it. Because in those 5 years, it takes us, as we said, the oldest part of the body of the man is 9 years old because it gets renewed. The emotion part of the man within the structure of the cell of the physicality says about 5 years. And then if you don't renew it, if you don't extend it, if you don't confirm to it, it vanishes. That's why a lot of people fall out of love. Because it's the way it is. Even emotion has a time lapse. Because it's a field dependent. And then it has a peak of interaction, and then it's the peak of balance, and then the diminution is still there. It's the same even with pain. So yes.
So when we have the amino acid, for example, it's all dependent on the strength from the same plasma.
Same strength could be different plasmas.
So is the amino acid different plasmas?
Yes. Different carbons, different strength, nitrogen, different strength, everything. Of course it is.
It's not necessarily coming from the same creator,
doesn't need to.
the sun.
No.
Doesn't need to.
No,
Okay.
doesn't need to. Doesn't need to.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And look at my chair, number 8. I'm sitting there.
It's empty. Today we didn't announce anyone to be here for the auditorium to be free. We open the exhibition only on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Monday and Thursday we try to keep it for teaching and testing. And we set different conditions for it.
You are lucky, Mr. Keshe. You get rid of me so quick.
Oh, that's another point. But we have set things up. We are testing different things of this system, and as I said, when it's opened up to public, we open it to public. The systems will be, when we go into full test, we close all the systems. So we hold the field's interaction inside. We know roughly what to expect, what to see, and gradually build up to it. But we'll see.
Well, thank you, Mr. Keshe. I appreciate it.
You want to send us a car without the engine that we can fit it?
I am thinking about it. I have a lot of cars here in the background.
That's what I asked. No, we'll do it because.
Actually, Jay, I think it was, from England, had a DeLorean lined up.
Is this still there? Can we have it? We are ready for it.
Well, you would have to get a hold of Jay. I banned him some time ago. We would have to reinitiate him and so on.
If he still got it, it will be easy to see if we can fly it.
Maybe Dean can make contact with him and get a hold of that. It's possible.
Well, we are ready. As I said, we have even asked the organizers of this exhibition center, and the month of January is allocated for us at the moment. If we achieve the point, we will show it. And you know, Keshe Foundation, we might do it before or after. Depends on a lot of things. But primarily, we are hoping to be able to show what you call a flying machine, what we call the space system, in January in Linz. And the what we call the organizers of the auditorium have already earmarked this, and they were so pleased to hear that it's going to be done. It brings a lot of people back into exhibition. As you know, no exhibition is taking place. It's very funny. People have called the exhibition center literally trying to get this done. They say the more they call, the more we know how good you are, how correct you are. And it's good. The head of the section, what do you call it, the exhibition, he's very nice, and he believes, and the mayor now, they believe in technology has to be here and brings new dimension. You got to understand that Keshe Foundation Austria is investing in factories here. We become part of the structure of the employment. We bring wealth to the nation and the city. And no one listens to a bunch of rogues and bewitches. And you will hear, we see, within the next couple of weeks and months, that the factories will be announced and employments will take place. We expect to employ hundreds of people in the coming months across Linz and city of Linz to introduce the new technologies, because these machines are have to be assembled in different shape or form. We need a space and labor force. And there's nothing better than what I call German precision, which runs in the Austrian structure. And we will see the new factories, as same as in China. Wang Ling can tell you, the factory is set up in parallel, set up here in assembling of the other parts, and that's how you receive it.
Well, we have a number of car questions here.
Yes.
Maybe we can quickly answer. I know we're getting toward the end of the show here.
Yes.
Bernie is asking, no, sorry, it's Randy says, how do the cars provide heat or cooling for the passengers inside the car?
Hair dryer.
Okay. You just put on the heat part or just the blower, depending on
Yeah, hair dryer. Yeah. We use the hair dryer for change of direction. Why not inside the car?
Okay, it could double as the propulsion as well,
Yep.
then. And well, I know you've answered that kind of question before, that the Ganses and how you can create an atmosphere of heating or cooling with various structures and so
Yeah,
on.
Keshe Foundation in the coming weeks or months, I should say, we start work on it, done by Keshe Foundation Manufacturing Austria. We will deliver a package. It's like a small bag of materials you mix with any paint, and this creates a lot of changes with the heat and other atmospheric condition. We have a company which has taken what do you call it, the banner of delivering it across Europe for us, and we are waiting for our factory to be completed that we can deliver the material. You buy a sachet and you add the sachet into your paint. It's not gases, it's the material which you produce, and then you add to the paint, and that will give you a lot of things in the house.
Mm-hmm.
It will be marketed by this company. The company has been a big supporter of the Keshe Foundation from the beginning, and the owner was here last week, and we started the process. They started the process, and we carry on doing that.
Okay, a couple more quick card questions here. Antonio asks, Mr. Keshe, as an organic farmer, will this be adaptable to my tractor and still be strong enough to pull and tow?
I don't know how many cows do you have to push it, but it works. Yeah, should.
Doug asks, how can we recycle the unnecessary parts of the car? Do we just sell them to the wrecking
Build
shop?
another car, melt it and build another one. No, but I think it's the same as we go through this. This is evolution in the system. We have to do it. It has to come. This is what I said. We had a choice to piecemeal this technology, or as I said, we taught for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Now the delivery of the technology we put to enhancement, it'll come very rapidly, one after another. In a way, we punch drunk the world with a new technology. That there is no time to do other things. Space, energy, construction, computers, one after another will be released. And you all seen it, it's just now you see how to make it.
Well, what about all the leftover stuff? Say computers are suddenly obsolete. We have these huge piles. Is there a plasma?
What did we do? What did we do? What did we do with steam engines when the other ones came in?
Well, they probably recycled the steel and made more big, heavy steel-based things like railway tracks and so on.
Ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, let me put something different angle to it. Now that we're bringing these machines in, do we need any more bridges? Is there any need for a bridge?
Well, that's another. How do you get rid of a bridge?
The bridges, you just leave it there and build houses on it.
You need a plasmasizer that you just throw all this stuff in and it instantly makes it into plasma, and then we can create anything out of it or transmute those elements.
You got to understand in the coming time, maybe 5-10 years, do we have any need for refineries? Refineries are heavily invested, billions of dollars in them. Do we need them? Look at the other side of it. Do we need airports? Do we need Boeing or European aircraft manufacturing? There's a lot of changes. It's not just one or two, and I've decided to release massive amount of technology in a very compact time. And the knowledge is ours, we can do. And I have a gorgeous team with me who can do it. We have everything in position to deliver.
That was another question from Thomas. We can tick this one off. The flying cars in the different countries and in the US, who will produce and distribute these?
We'll come to an arrangement. We have started a franchise structure in Keshe Foundation. We give our knowledge on a condition of franchise that Keshe Foundation Austria will get the benefit of it all. It's just the way it is because I own 100% of it on behalf of the worldwide population. Keshe Foundation Austria has now become the backbone of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. And it's been set that way to protect all the interests of the Keshe Foundation in all the nations. And what they call the government of Austria is fully aware of our operation. We tried to set this up in Italy. We got betrayed by those who went there deliberately using their physicality to disturb others, and they sold the foundation with their body and physicality, and now we brought everything solid in the nation of Austria. and we are solid where we are, and we transferred all the rights into working with one company, mother company of the Keshe Foundation, officially sits with the Keshe Foundation Austrian Manufacturing, which is holding all interests around the world. And as a manufacturing, it'll be kept as the assets of the worldwide population. The foundation has no foundations. The foundation is just a name to bring us together. And the Keshe Foundation Manufacturing as a company is 100% owned, and all the companies around the world we work with is owned under my name or the Foundation Austria Manufacturing. We had to do this to stop the thuggery which was going on. We were aware of it will be done one day, and now it's shown its head. So it has, foundation has no value as ownership. It owns nothing. And the intellectual rights of it belongs to all of us. I was aware that this position might rise, and my advisors and lawyers and accountants years ago foresaw this happening, and we set it up that it cannot happen. My assets, through a tight agreement, stays mine, and it stays to, you know, what we call to the older nation. Keshe Foundation is a name on the internet, and a foundation as a charity in Holland. And if you can value a charity and share it, and then charity has no meaning. You cannot split the charity because you work to see it, but something happens. And so all the volunteers you can book in for all I did a worth foundation is a non-profitable organization, was kept the ethos and has been financed primarily by me over years through my other businesses. And we were thought this might take place, and we covered the Keshe Foundation fully as a manufacturing by name. And we are well protected. Any other question?
We have many questions in the Q&A, Mr. Keshe. We have Marinez with her hand up. Maybe we can allow her to...
Who else before Marinez? We are passing 4 hours limit.
Yeah, that's all. That's it. Then we could end now if you wish.
Yeah, let's finish it now, and then we can go through it. I would like to, in a way, in a summary, to tell you what today's teaching is or has been. Keshe Foundation has moved into a new space, universal system development and sharing, and you will see new computers coming out from the Keshe Foundation, and then it will be followed worldwide. You will see flying cars, which as we call it, gravitational maglev systems, which will be, we booked for January to be shown. 11 years we had to wait, or sorry, 9 years we had to wait, more or less to the date if we can do it. If I can get it up and running by 26th of November, we'll have a celebration day. In a way, a smack in the mouth of the Belgian authorities who blocked it that day. 9 years later, we're going to show it. And in that process, we don't need any flight, what we call certificate. It has immensely bothered me for 9 years. The technology could save this planet because of a bunch of thugs under nationality of one nation have taken human race to what we call ransom. And we've seen the ransom from them. And in that process, we will change, especially the automotive and the oil industry. And the technology is already in the hand of the Keshe Foundation people who know that if anything happens to me, it'll be shown, it'll be delivered. At the same time, my prime position is to bring what we call the universal communication and what we call computer system that we can find our way around the universe. And then we see where we go. And as I said, listen to us next Thursday. We have a position to be able to get all these systems across to every city. At one city, one system is our motto, and we look at it. And it's primarily we can meet the demand and deliver it in the position that the foundation stays, and through it, those who cannot afford and are sick will be looked after by the foundation through the systems we deliver to the city. Thank you very much for today, and let's see how much more we can add to the knowledge next time.
Okay, very good, Mr. Keshe. Excellent.
Am I getting paid this time?
Mamy koniec tłumaczenia. Jeśli są jakieś pytania, to zapraszam. Jeśli ktoś chciałby się podzielić swoją wiedzą, swoim zrozumieniem również. Nie ma pytań. Bardzo dużo pytań się tutaj nasuwa, jeśli chodzi o strukturę chociażby pojazdu antygrawitacyjnego w stosunku do Ziemi i nie tylko. Każdy pewnie zastanawia się, jak sformułować, jak stworzyć pole, kopułę, która uniesie materię. W pewien sposób technologia jest również połączona z tą kopułą, którą prezentował nam kiedyś Salas, chyba to było ze 2 lata temu, z tego co pamiętam. I tam też były ustawione reaktory, chyba w 4 rogach. Z tego co pamiętam, myślę, że technologia jest jedna o wielu zastosowaniach, czyli mamy wiele możliwości stosowania tej technologii, łącznie z nami samymi, czyli z naszym ciałem, elewacją duszy, tworzeniu materiałów i aż trudno sobie wyobrazić, co jeszcze, bo widzimy, jakie są zapowiedzi w tym warsztacie. Zobaczymy, co nam przyniesie te kilka miesięcy do przodu, nawet może tygodni. I w większości na pytania, które sobie stawiamy, w pewien sposób do końca nie mamy odpowiedzi, ale możemy sobie już to jakby ustawić w głowie, co się może wydarzyć w przyszłości, co już się wydarza. Tak więc chyba na dzisiaj skończymy. Jeśli nie ma pytań, to zapraszam na kolejne spotkanie, które odbędzie się w czwartek o godzinie 21. A to było 405. spotkanie poszukiwaczy wiedzy w języku polskim z dnia 11 października 2020 roku. Życzę dobrej nocy. Do usłyszenia.
Nadszedł czas zmiany, przejścia do prawdziwego działania wszechświata. I nadszedł czas, aby zrozumieć, że używamy stanu materii, by osiągnąć poziom zrozumienia duszy człowieka. Teraz rozumiesz, być może, dlaczego Kreator wysłał swoich posłańców w imię tego, co miałeś. To oni przynoszą uszy, aby można było ich użyć, gdy nadejdzie czas Mesjasza. Mogę nauczyć duszę i przesłanie, nie by się przeciwstawiać, ale poprzez ich zrozumienie przez tych, którzy stali się Mesjaszami, aby dawać ze swoich dusz, aby ich elewować. Zadanie stało się łatwe. Szkoła jest tutaj i uczniowie są tutaj w oddaniu. Wtedy nie będzie żadnej walki między tym, co nazywają muzułmanami a chrześcijanami. Baranek i lew będą jeść i spać w tym samym gnieździe. Chrześcijanie i muzułmanie będą spać i modlić się w meczecie, w tym samym kościele, w imię ich dusz, nie w imię religii, które są używane do tworzenia tak wielu konfliktów, dla korzyści tych, którzy byli hiperaktywnymi dziećmi. Nadszedł czas, czas zmian jest tutaj. I jak powiedziałem, moje życzenie jest moim rozkazem. Jeśli pragniesz ujrzeć pokój, droga pokoju jest wyłożona bardzo wyraźnie. To dusza świadomości zbiorowej. Poprzez dawanie stworzy tą pozycję zmiany. Nic innego. W duszy człowieka nie ma długopisu. Jestem pewien, że po wejściu do społeczności uniwersalnej nigdy nie zobaczysz niczego zapisanego, ale równowagę pól duszy egzystencji. Staraj się być na tyle pokornym, aby nie stać się aroganckim w mocy, którą zrozumiałeś i posiadłeś. Inaczej wpadniesz w tą samą ścieżkę kościoła i meczetu. To jest to, co obiecaliśmy i to właśnie dostarczyliśmy. Musimy zrozumieć działanie duszy i musimy zrozumieć, że dusza człowieka jest gwiazdą w kosmosie wszechświata. Jeśli porównamy duszę człowieka i tak wielu nas, 7 miliardów w jednym zbiorze, Ziemia jest jak galaktyka z tak wieloma gwiazdami. Kiedy patrzymy w głąb wszechświata, widzimy galaktyki z setkami milionów gwiazd. Podobnie jest z planetą Ziemią. Niesie 7 miliardów pięknych gwiazd, które są duszą człowieka. Niesie z sobą duszę tak wielu trylionów zwierząt, roślin i wszystkiego innego. Jeśli więc patrzą ci, którzy nie widzą fizyczności Ziemi i jej zawartości, co widzą? Widzą galaktykę z wielką ilością pięknych, świecących świateł. Każda według swojej siły. Każda zgodnie ze swoją pozycją. Niemowlę ma piękną duszę, podobnie jak staruszek. Dla tych niefizycznych, którzy nie widzą fizycznego wymiaru tej planety, ale widzą siłę pola, jesteśmy gromadami gwiazd. Ludzka rasa, każda pojedyncza dusza, nikt z daleka nie widzi. To jest dusza rybaka, to jest dusza kosmologa, to jest dusza prezydenta. Wszystkie świecą bez względu na fizyczność. To jest magia. Oto, co nowa nauka musi przynieść człowiekowi. Kiedy patrzymy przez naszą duszę, widzimy tylko gwiazdy w innych duszach. I to jest przełom. To jest zrozumienie. Na tym właśnie polegają te wszystkie nauki. Dojście do dojrzałości następnego poziomu, aby zrozumieć daleki kosmos. Wszechświat jest ostrygą dla tych dusz, które służą. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy do wejścia w kosmos. Wtedy człowiek jest gotowy, aby stać się częścią uniwersalnej społeczności, która została obiecana. Nigdy nie obiecywałem wam nieba. Zawsze obiecywałem wam elewację człowieka, aby przyłączył się do rodziny. A teraz macie klucz. To wy musicie otworzyć drzwi, aby zrozumieć, że mogę elewować duszę tych ludzi lub milionów innych dusz, że fizyczne życie na tej planecie zmieni się. Wtedy jestem godny bycia częścią społeczności uniwersalnej, by być, aby służyć, aby się rozwijać, by być tam, aby być częścią, że w cyklu życia wszechświata staje się w byciu częścią, staje się częścią totalności. Kiedy człowiek osiągnie ten punkt, pojawi się nowy wymiar w sile duszy człowieka, który jest poza wyobrażeniem zrozumienia życia fizycznego. To jest brama do otwarcia nowego życia w nowym wymiarze, co jest poza wyobrażeniem tego, co mogliście nazwać nowym początkiem, nowym cyklem, gdzie ten cykl niesie ze sobą źródło stworzenia życia we wszechświecie i unikosie. To jest elewacja duszy, aby służyć. Stała się kluczem. Nie tron życia fizycznego. Czas jest odpowiedni, nadszedł czas, aby człowiek przeszedł przez ten proces.